7:17 at 1XX. Your birthday calls are on the way in just a moment. You are waking up to the news that America has experienced its biggest attack out of wartime. Its biggest terrorist attack in peacetime. 3 suicide air attacks on the World Trade Center in New York and the Pentagon in Washington. Here's Mike Francis.
The United States has been the victim of the most serious terrorist attacks in peacetime this morning. Many Americans are comparing what's happened to Pearl Harbor. There are reports that several US Navy aircraft carriers are steaming to the east coast of the US in the wake of this morning's catastrophic terrorist attacks. The ships and their planes are being deployed to provide a shield against the threat of further attacks. Hijacked passenger planes have slammed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York, causing the buildings to collapse. A third jet went down near the Pentagon in Washington, while a 747 crashed in a rural area in Pennsylvania. The damage to the Pentagon could have been much worse. Eyewitness Tim Timmerman says the jet fell just short of the U.S. military headquarters.
And I saw it hit right in front of, didn't appear to crash into the building. Most of the energy was dissipated in hitting the ground, but I saw the nose break up, I saw the wings fly forward, and then the conflagration just engulfed everything in flames. It was horrible.
Acting Prime Minister Jim Anderton and Foreign Affairs Minister Phil Goff are meeting now to discuss the terrorist attack on the US. There are plans to set up an 0800 number for people here who want information about loved ones in New York or Washington. Details of the number will be broadcast as soon as it's available. Phil Goff says it's likely that some New Zealanders have been killed, given that tens of thousands of people have probably died. He says there needs to be a concerted international response to eradicate terrorism.
What we have to show out of this is not that we will bow to terrorism, but rather that will increase our determination to combat people who clearly, despite their claim to be acting for a political cause, place no value on innocent human life.
There's no word yet on how many people have been killed, but 50,000 people work in the World Trade Center alone. More than 250 people were on board the 4 hijacked passenger planes. And there's been mounting international condemnation of this morning's attacks. UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan says terror must be stopped, while British Prime Minister Tony Blair has called for an international push to end terrorism. A no-fly zone has been set up across London, and several government buildings in the capital have been evacuated as a precaution. Security is also being upgraded at American diplomatic missions around the world. The US Embassy in Wellington won't comment on what, if any, extra precautions are being put in place. IRN understands that New Zealand police have boarded a flight from Los Angeles that arrived in Auckland overnight, but police have not confirmed that. World Trade Organization head and former Prime Minister Mike Moore says today's attack will change the world. He says when you think of how well planned this attack was, it could be considered an act of war.
This, as Roosevelt said, is a day that will last in infamy. This may well change the world.
Mike Moore says the world's in a very fragile state and America should not take this terrorist attack lying down. No one has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but they're being linked to Muslim extremist Osama bin Laden. We'll keep you informed as the situation unfolds. I'm Mike Francis for IRN.